The Story of Pulchritude. The story of Pulchritude begins as so many stories of destiny do, with a young couple wandering the restless streets of Atlanta. Their hands clasped, their pockets thin, their spirits torn between hope and uncertainty. Atlanta itself was a mirror of their love, contradictions woven into concrete and sky. Towers of glass and ambition rose against the backdrop of neighborhoods heavy with memory, where churches still rang with gospel and children still played beside cracked sidewalks. It was a city where faith wrestled with hunger, where legacy contended with survival. It was here, in this crucible of collision, that their first daughter came into being. Her arrival was not easy. Pain overtook her mother, complications turned the hospital into a battlefield, and for a moment, the veil between life and death hovered so thin it seemed a whisper might tear it open. But then, through the struggle, through the trembling silence that precedes either miracle or tragedy, she emerged. And when her parents beheld her face, it was as though light had concentrated itself into a single being. They named her Pulchritude. In English, the word means beauty, but its roots descend deeper than appearance. From the Latin pulchere, pulchritude signified not ornament, but essence, not vanity, but valor. It was beauty as strength, beauty as truth, beauty as the divine capacity to endure. To name their child Pulchritude was not to predict she would be lovely. It was to consecrate her spirit as a vessel of elegance and courage, intellect and fire. A declaration that her existence itself would be scripture. From childhood, Pulchritude burned with curiosity. She wanted to know why flowers leaned toward light, why people chose the garments they wore, why the world seemed coded into invisible hierarchies. Her parents, seeking to ground her in discipline, enrolled her in a private Christian school in Atlanta. There she memorized verses, parsed parables, and endured the rigor of recitation. Yet even as she mouthed scripture, she was secretly writing another gospel, one of fabric, shape, and color. In her bedroom mirror she layered patterns not for adornment, but as if they were keys, symbols that opened unseen doors. For her, fashion was not clothing, it was revelation, a hidden language equal in gravity to the word itself. Summers were spent in rural Georgia, where her grandmother's farmhouse anchored the past. The house was plain, cows in pasture, goats in the yard, a vegetable garden furrowed by calloused hands. Her grandmother herself was unshakable, reading newspapers, sipping tea, always steady as if time could not move her. For Pulchritude, the quiet could feel suffocating. So she carried with her a virtual reality headset, a portal to imagined worlds. She constructed treasure hunts, landscapes, labyrinths to distract her restless mind. It was during one of these wanderings that her life changed forever. In her grandmother's house, headset pressed to her face, she stumbled. She thought it a glitch in her VR game, a digital hallucination overlaying reality. Yet when she reached for the knob, it was solid, real. With a breath, she turned it. The door opened onto a hallway black as eternity. The air was heavy, colder with each step. She walked for what felt like lifetimes, the sound of her feet swallowed by silence. At last, another door appeared, plain and waiting. She pressed it open. Inside was a closet unlike any closet the world had ever known. Garments shimmered with impossible colors, hues unnamed by human tongues. Fabrics pulsed as though woven from starlight. Patterns shifted like constellations in motion. Some pieces looked ceremonial, others alien, some carved from myth itself. These were not clothes for mortals. These were vestments for gods, archives of power disguised as fashion. And in the corner stood a figure, a woman yet not a woman as the world understands. She was no fairy tale witch, no villain of childhood warnings. She bore the gravity of something older, the raw femininity of pre-Western memory, before softness was demanded, before obedience was carved into bone. She was dangerous, alive, an embodiment of what lies before good and evil, a guardian of truths buried too deep for most to face.
The woman did not speak, yet Pulchritude understood her. To step into this closet was to step into knowledge forbidden, that fashion is not mere fabric, but the mechanism by which the unseen becomes visible. It is the encoding of power into color, the translation of spirit into silhouette, the revelation of identity through design. Fashion was scripture in thread and dye, garments as verses, outfits as whole gospels. Pulchritude left the closet, returned through the hallway, and emerged back into her grandmother's house, but she was forever changed. She could not unlearn what she had seen. She carried with her the unbearable secret that beauty is not decoration but revelation, that clothing is not costume but destiny. From that day forward, every fabric she touched trembled with new meaning. Every design she sketched bore the weight of sacred text. Her parents, her teachers, the world, none could know what she had encountered. Yet Pulchritude walked with the knowledge that she had crossed the threshold, that she was chosen not to follow the patterns of the world, but to rewrite them. She understood that beauty, true beauty, is not what is admired, but what endures, not what pleases the eye, but what awakens the soul. And so the girl named Pulchritude began her journey, not to decorate life, but to unveil it, not to clothe the body, but to reveal the spirit. Her story, like the closet she entered, had only just opened its first door.